If you've spent any time on social media lately, you've probably seen it. A glossy video promising that one glass of juice taken first thing in the morning can reverse clogged arteries and bring your blood pressure back down to normal. The comments are full of people swearing it changed their life. And I get it. When you're worried about your heart, a simple drink sounds so much easier than everything else you've been told to do. So today, I want to actually sit down with this claim as a doctor and walk through what's true, what's exaggerated, and what your arteries actually need if you want them to get healthier. Let's start with what's really happening inside an artery when we say it's clogged. Your arteries aren't pipes that get coated in grease like a kitchen drain. The inner lining of an artery, called the endothelium, is a living, active tissue. When it gets repeatedly irritated by high blood sugar, by inflammation, by certain types of cholesterol particles, it allows fatty material, immune cells, and calcium to build up underneath that lining, forming what's called plaque. This process, atherosclerosis, can take years or even decades to develop. So right there, you should already feel a little suspicious of any claim that a single glass of anything can undo a process that took 20 years to build. It also helps to understand why plaque is dangerous in the first place. As it builds up, it narrows the space blood can flow through, which raises pressure and makes the heart work harder. In some cases, a piece of that plaque can become unstable and rupture, triggering a blood clot that blocks the artery entirely. And that's what we call a heart attack or a stroke, depending on where it happens. None of this is a process that flips back to normal because of one ingredient in a glass. It's a slow biological story, and reversing even part of it requires sustained change, not a single event. Now, that doesn't mean food and drink don't matter. They matter enormously. Some of the ingredients commonly used in these miracle juice recipes, like beets, pomegranate, citrus, or ginger, do contain compounds that have been studied for cardiovascular benefits. Beets, for example, are rich in nitrates, which your body can convert into nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax and improves blood flow. Citrus fruits contain flavonoids that have antioxidant properties. Garlic has compounds linked to modest reductions in blood pressure in some studies. Pomegranate has been studied for its effect on oxidative stress in blood vessels. So these ingredients aren't nothing. The problem isn't the ingredients, it's the framing. The video makes it sound like a single morning ritual replaces everything else, when in reality, at best, these compounds offer a small supporting role in a much bigger picture. Think about it this way. If you have a leaky roof and you put one bucket under the worst drip, you might catch some water. But you haven't fixed the roof. The leak is still happening. That's what's going on when someone drinks an artery-clearing juice while still eating heavily processed food, sitting most of the day, smoking, or carrying around chronic, unmanaged stress. The juice might add one small positive input, but it can't outweigh the dozens of negative inputs still hitting your blood vessels every single day. You can't outjuice a diet that's still high in refined sugar and trans fat, any more than you can outrun a bad diet on a treadmill. So what actually moves the needle on arterial health? The research is honestly pretty consistent, even if it's less exciting than a magic drink. The first big lever is your overall dietary pattern, not one ingredient. Diets that consistently show benefits for blood vessels, like the Mediterranean style or DASH style patterns, share a few things in common. They're high in vegetables, fruit, legumes, nuts, and fish. They limit ultra-processed food, added sugar, and excess sodium, and they include healthy fats rather than eliminating fat altogether. It's the whole pattern working together over months and years that gradually improves cholesterol particles, reduces inflammation, and supports a healthier endothelium. No single smoothie does that job. Consistency does. The second lever is movement. Regular aerobic activity, Even something as simple as a brisk 30-minute walk most days has a measurable effect on blood pressure and on how efficiently your blood vessels dilate and contract. Exercise essentially trains your arteries the same way it trains your muscles, making them more responsive and resilient over time. It also helps regulate blood sugar and supports a healthier body weight, both of which reduce the everyday irritation your blood vessels are exposed to. The third lever, and one people underestimate constantly, is chronic stress and sleep. When you're under sustained stress, your body keeps releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that raise blood pressure and promote inflammation. Poor sleep does something similar. It disrupts the hormones that regulate appetite and blood sugar, and it's been linked in research to higher rates of cardiovascular disease over time. No juice touches this part of the equation. Only consistent, deliberate stress management and protecting your sleep will move this needle. And the fourth lever is the boring one nobody wants to hear: time. Even genuinely effective interventions, quitting smoking, lowering LDL cholesterol, controlling blood sugar, take months to start showing measurable improvement in arterial health and often longer to meaningfully reduce plaque burden. There is no legitimate intervention, dietary or pharmaceutical, that reverses years of arterial change overnight. Anyone telling you otherwise is selling you a feeling, not a fact, and that feeling is often exactly what makes a video go viral. So where does that leave the actual juice claim? I'll give credit where it's due. Many of these recipes use genuinely heart-supportive ingredients, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying a beet and citrus juice as part of an overall healthy pattern. What I can't get behind is the promise attached to it. The idea that this one drink, on its own, reverses clogged arteries or lowers high blood pressure in any meaningful, lasting way. That promise isn't supported by how human physiology actually works, and worse, it can quietly convince people to skip the things that genuinely matter: a consistent eating pattern, regular movement, good sleep, stress management, and yes, working with your doctor to monitor your numbers and your medications if you've been prescribed any. This is actually a bigger pattern in health content online, and it's worth naming. Whenever you see a claim that combines a tiny effort with a huge, specific result and a short time frame, 1 cup, in 7 days, while you sleep, that combination should be a signal to slow down, not speed up. Your body works on biological timelines, not marketing timelines. The people creating these videos know that drink this every morning for 6 months as part of a broader lifestyle change doesn't get nearly as many clicks as 1 glass reverses years of damage. But knowing that pattern is exactly what lets you protect yourself from it. If you actually want to support your arteries starting today, here's what I'd suggest instead of chasing a single magic drink. Build most of your meals around vegetables, legumes, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, and fatty fish. Cut back gradually on ultra-processed foods and added sugar, not because any single food is evil, but because the pattern adds up over years. Walk daily if you can, and add some strength training a couple of times a week. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep and find a stress outlet that actually works for you, whether that's exercise, breathing exercises, time outdoors, or just protecting some quiet time in your day. And get your blood pressure and cholesterol checked regularly so you and your doctor have real numbers to track instead of guessing based on how you feel. It's also worth saying clearly, if you already have diagnosed heart disease, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, none of this replaces your treatment plan. Medications that lower blood pressure or cholesterol have years of solid research behind them, and they work through very specific, well-understood mechanisms: relaxing blood vessels, blocking certain enzymes, reducing how much cholesterol your liver produces. Lifestyle changes and medication aren't competing options. In most cases, they work best together. If a video ever suggests you can quietly swap your prescription for a juice recipe, That's one of the clearest red flags you'll come across, and it's worth talking to your own doctor before changing anything. I also want to address something that comes up constantly in the comments on videos, like the original one. But my aunt tried it and her numbers improved. And I believe that. People do see real improvements after starting habits like these. But when someone starts drinking a vegetable and fruit juice every morning, they're often also cutting back on sugary drinks, paying more attention to what they eat for the rest of the day, walking more, and feeling more motivated overall. The juice becomes the visible symbol of a much bigger shift in behavior, even though the juice itself isn't doing the heavy lifting. That's a really common pattern in health psychology, and it's part of why these claims feel so convincing, even when the underlying science doesn't support the specific promise. None of this is as exciting as a single glass of juice that promises to undo decades of wear and tear overnight. But it's what actually works, because it addresses the real causes: inflammation, blood sugar instability, inactivity, and chronic stress, rather than papering over them with one feel-good ingredient. Your arteries didn't get the way they are overnight, and they're not going to heal overnight either. But with consistency, over weeks, months, and years, your body has a remarkable capacity to repair and adapt, and that's genuinely encouraging. It just requires patience instead of a shortcut. If this video helped you see through one more piece of health misinformation, that's exactly the kind of thing I want this channel to do. Cut through the noise so you can make decisions based on how your body actually works, not on whatever claim is trending this week. If you found this useful, subscribe and turn on notifications, because there are a lot more of these claims out there, and we're going to keep working through them together, one video at a time.